Welcome to the Amazon's podcast. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to Amazon'sFitMag.com. The podcast is brought to you by GPS Photography and Video. Why photography and video? Because of a photo's worth 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000,000. And Amazon's Fitness Magazine is a publication of GPS Photography and Video. My guest, IFBB Women's Bodybuilder Pro, back from the Portugal Pro, Sherry Priami. And Sherry, let me let you know up front, I really appreciate you for coming on. Thank you for being so gracious to do this interview.
Of course. I'm always happy to do so. Thank you for promoting women's bodybuilding. We really appreciate the effort that you put in for us. Thank you.
Sure, definitely. Talk to me about the show. How are you feeling? Things did not go as everyone hoped, but talk to me.
Of course, we wanted the win. And it's cliche to say, but I truly feel like I presented my best up there. I couldn't have done anything any better. My coach brought me in perfectly. My presentation, I was very proud of the look that I had. So as far as, what I did, everything was spot on. It was a really great experience. It's a show I've always wanted to do. I really think the venue and the way that they, bring us out on the rotating stage is so impressive. I've always thought it looked, just so dramatic. And the promoter, he was great, very helpful and kind. And he has an awesome gym there that we got to train in. It's like 4 stories tall, Panada equipment everywhere, which is I'd never gotten to use, which I, of course, I love it. And it was just a really great experience for me. I've never been to Europe, so that was my first time. And it was just really eye-opening for me to be in a different country, different culture, the history and around different people. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, of course, I'm disappointed I didn't win. That's what we went there for. But right. I walked away a better, more enriched person because of the trip. So it was all good.
The stage, are you afraid of heights? What was it like rotating? Was the footing good? The lighting was excellent.
My coach told me that from the beginning. He said, Sherry, the lighting is better than the Olympia. He said, the lighting is amazing. And it was. I mean, the detail, for the competitors, it really showed. The theater is in a casino, has stadium seating. And when you look out into the audience, there's like twinkling lights all over the wall and on the ceiling. The stage itself, those platforms are flush when you first walk out. So they have the curtains, drawn, and you go and you stand on the platforms, and then they start to rise up out of the floor as the curtains open and start spinning. So they warned us that they were going to move, but when it first started happening, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to fall, So
that would have been bad.
Going like, a stance at first, just trying to get my feel. And then once it was
shoulder width apart.
Once it fully elevated, then I felt comfortable, going into some different poses. And, you're trying to think like, okay, now my back's to the audience, so let's do a back pose, or now I'm to the side. So you're trying to strategically, do a good pose where you are the position of the rotating stage. But yeah, once it got moving, it was fine. And then the curtain, I think then they lower us, and then the curtain closes, and then, we go off stage, and it looks like a normal stage after that. But
how far up were you?
Gosh, probably about a good 3 feet off the ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this was in a casino?
It's in a casino, Astoria Casino. Yeah, it's where the James Bond movie was filmed.
Nice. The only thing that would be better is if the stage was a roulette table as you guys rotated around and everybody's placing their bets.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Maybe they can make that happen in Vegas.
Yeah,
it looked amazing, and you literally look like a superhero around there.
I think it's the most impressive presentation for a bodybuilding show that's out there.
Right.
So yeah, I'm glad that I got to do it. Like I said, it was one of those bucket list shows for me. So.
Right. How long did they tell you were going to be rotating?
They didn't.
Oh, okay.
And
so you literally sit up there thinking.
I didn't know how long it was going to go on for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't really
So
tell
then,
us.
of course, the judges are right down there in front, right? As you
Yes.
rotate around.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're
See,
looking up on that. Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Be sort of interesting with bikini and wellness how that would work out. I
I
don't
didn't
know.
look back to see their poses and stuff. Did it look? I wonder if that. I don't know. It seems like
Yeah.
we looked a little bit more impressive up there than a bikini girl, but who knows?
Oh yeah, you look like
There was probably a
superheroes.
lot more of them lined up. So,
Yeah.
you
Well, maybe
know,
you were holding the bikini on your shoulder, but anyway, we can plan for that.
yeah.
How was the backstage area? How did everybody, get along and everything? The different suits looked amazing. Shout out to your suit maker as well,
Ah, yes,
Miss
Mrs.
Guyton,
Guyton.
right? Guyton
Yes.
suits. Yeah.
She really is amazing. I had picked out my um, theme song for my posing routine. And then I
Mm-hmm.
presented my idea to her and said, look, I'm looking for something, kind of elegant with sort of an angelic feel.
Mm-hmm.
The song is actually, if you translate it, it's Hail Mary. So I sent her,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
some colors
I
that,
remember you saying that.
Mary
Yeah.
wears, the blues I just said, just go with it. And that's what her creation was. And it was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah.
So she's incredible, very talented. I'd highly
He
recommend her.
is. Yep.
Yeah,
He is. Well, you
very
looked
fun.
amazing.
Thank
Talk
you.
to me when you talked to Sharonica. What was the posing setup for this? Because you're rotating. What kind of posing routine can you set up for that?
Well, the rotating part, you just go out and just do whatever poses that you want to do.
Right.
Sharonica and I
Okay.
really just, came up with my finals routine. So when you come out for the individual routine and everything and do your
Right.
poses, it's just a regular stage. So I just consulted with my boyfriend Chris. I'm like, what poses should I do? He's like, your front double is amazing, your side
Yeah.
chest is amazing, your back double is
Yeah.
amazing. Do those. Don't do the
Mhm.
other thigh because that kind of, that's not great from
Yeah.
the side or the back. So you
Well,
just
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. We have to
you
see.
kind of like have to like tuck your glutes in and go down. Like
Yeah.
it's not flattering from all angles.
And then you
Um,
don't want to be doing a lot of moving. So yeah, I get
no,
that.
no. So I
Yeah.
just hit like those three, just kind of depending on where the stage was. The front double,
Yeah.
of course, facing the audience. When my back was to the stage, the back, that kind of thing. So
Tan looked good. And that's important, when you hit that lighting as well.
yeah, I was a little nervous. They do it a little different in Europe. In the United
Uh-huh.
States, you get a tan at night and then you
Mm-hmm.
sleep on it. And then you go back in the morning, you get a second coat.
Right.
There, they give you your first coat, you dry for 5 minutes, and then they put your second coat on. And
Wow.
that's
Okay.
it. So I'm like, ugh. I was worried that maybe it was going to look, in the States, I feel like it's wetter. Like it takes
Mm-hmm.
longer to dry and it kind of absorbs into your skin. So it looks like you're holding water a little bit when you get your first coat on.
Right.
So it takes time to absorb. Whatever they use there didn't do that. So you could put 2 coats on right away. It didn't make me look watery like the tan here. And it didn't turn splotchy. And then when I washed it off,
Mm-hmm.
it came off really well. It doesn't look orange. Some of the tans here
Right.
look a little orangey afterwards. You kind of like a
Right.
Oompa the next day. It looks really nice and golden. So I was impressed with the tan. They apply the oil a little differently. They in the States, they usually just kind of spray it on you with a
Right.
can. There, they hand pat it everywhere and put the shine on. So I was very happy with the color. And I think all the girls looked equally as good. Sometimes here it's hit or miss. I don't know if people
Yeah.
here do their own tans and some
Mm-hmm.
people use the company. Everybody used
Yeah.
the company there. So yeah, it was good.
And it's the
I was a
same with
little
makeup too. Some do their own makeup, and sometimes if you do
yeah,
your own makeup and tanning, that can be a big mistake. It can be your
yeah.
downfall.
I
Yeah.
wasn't crazy about my makeup at this show.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a little bit of blue. I feel like maybe there was a miscommunication with the language barrier. It was a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit more blue than I had hoped, so I'll do it differently for the next show. But it was all good. The
Yeah.
hair, they didn't do it the way I had asked. They told me that they couldn't, so I just said,
Wow.
just fine, just do it.
So the person doing your hair and makeup, what language did they speak? Portuguese or?
Portuguese. Yeah, yeah. So I showed him some pictures, and I just think some things were lost in translation. But it turned out okay. I still was not,
Yeah.
super
Going
happy.
forward, I guess you may need to get a translator.
Yeah. Next time, Google Translate or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Talk to me about judges' feedback. What did they say? Did they say anything?
He did. My coach, of course, was like, "Why didn't you win? I think you should have won.
Mm-hmm.
You were more conditioned." And
Right.
we were, and we agree. But they said that she was more balanced, and I
Mm-hmm.
understand their decision. Her legs and her upper body were more balanced, and my legs need to come up a little bit more to match my upper body because my upper body
Right.
is so dominant, and I see that. And I also know that that sometimes is based on who you're standing next to. She's four
True.
foot like 6 or 4'8". I mean, she's a very short
Mm-hmm.
girl, so her
Yeah.
legs are going to appear very thick. Um,
Exactly.
in comparison to mine or some of the other girls. But she's got a great flow to her body. I understand. It's a bodybuilding, Bill, the judge said, Sherry, it's a bodybuilding contest. It's not a conditioning contest.
Right.
Although your condition was spot on. He said everything about it was spot on. She just had a
Mm-hmm.
little better upper to lower body balance. So,
The flight over, how was your water retention? Were you okay there, or
I
how did
am
you feel
very fortunate
landing? Or
that I do not hold water when I fly. I actually
so
lose
no
water.
jet lag or nothing? That's great.
No, I had a little bit of jet lag yesterday. I had to go back to
Okay.
work.
Mm.
2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I just hit a wall. I was like, oh, this is jet lag.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I got there, we were a little tired because it was like midnight our time, but 6 a.m. their time. So when
Mm-hmm.
we got to our Airbnb, we took like a 3-hour power nap, and then we were
Mm-hmm.
good. But up to the show, besides going to the gym, to do like my pump workouts, I rested the whole time.
Right.
So I think that played a big part in not feeling the jet lag or any kind of time difference. So it's all good. It's really
Yeah,
good.
that's great.
Yeah.
So we talked about it before in our last interview. If things didn't go well at Portugal, you will be on to the next show.
Hmm.
And you alluded to Tampa. Are you still going to do Tampa?
We are. We are officially registered. That is a show that I can manage, with it being close to my home.
Right.
Atlanta wasn't even a possibility. I didn't even get into town until,
Yeah, it was just too close. Yeah. Yeah.
yesterday, and my coach gave me, the freedom to enjoy some Portuguese food after the show. So, and I, thoroughly wanted to take advantage of that. Being in a
Right.
different country, I wanted to enjoy at least a day or two. So we did.
Yeah.
So there was no way I could do Atlanta. That was not an
Yeah.
option. I saw that female
Chicago's
body.
still out there.
Well, and I saw that female bodybuilding channel had posted that I'm doing Chicago. Not real sure where they got that from.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You got to do your research. Somebody that's a hope maybe, but now we know officially that you're doing Tampa.
I'm doing Tampa. Yes, I don't have the time to fly to Chicago,
Right.
nor do I want to really financially invest in
Yeah.
any in it. So Tampa is a good show too. So that's what we're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah,
Yeah. And you're in Orlando.
we're just south of Orlando, like 30
Okay.
55
So it's
minutes.
not that far to travel to.
No,
And all.
I'm actually
Mhm.
like 2 hours across from Tampa on the other coast.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so easy peasy.
So that works out well.
It
And
does.
all the shows from going out when it comes to women's bodybuilding, I think we're down to maybe 5 shows left. Um, it's not a point of who's in now. The story now with 12 weeks to the Olympia is who's on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And so Chicago, Atlanta, Tampa are going to be huge shows. One, the
Hmm.
promoters do a great job.
They do.
And historically, they've always had the numbers
Yeah.
or everybody else. And so that's like a throwback with the prize money. I
Right.
think overall it's a thing of, okay, it's getting late in the season and everybody's trying to qualify for the Olympia. So the shows are going to be naturally big because of the timeline, not so much because of the prize money.
Right. And I kind of expect Tampa to be a big show considering it's 2 weeks before Rising.
Right.
So the girls that are
Yes.
going Rising are, going to be prepped and ready. So I imagine a lot of those competitors on that list will be showing up to Tampa, is what I'm suspecting.
Exactly.
So
It's
it's
sort of
going to
like a
be a battle.
prelim.
Yeah.
And you're doing the Rising Phoenix too?
Yes, sir. Hmm.
So yeah. And I always, I said the Rising Phoenix is like the prejudging to the Olympia,
Yes.
and
Yes.
the Olympia is the finals. So
Although things went differently for both shows, Rising, I
mhm,
think, of course, Andrea and
mhm,
Andy were the top two, but Michaela got third there and she
yeah,
got sixth at the Olympia. I got seventh at Rising and
mhm,
fourth at the Olympia. So, who knows?
yeah. And
It's
Michaela Acock's doing Atlanta, and you're right. Every show is different. You can't take what happened at one show into the next one because you just never
no,
know.
because the judges are judging who's standing in front of them. They're
Exactly.
not looking at like, oh, well, she didn't, place, this last show because her legs
Right.
were smaller. I mean, or maybe I'll show up and the girl next to me has too big of legs but too small a upper body. You know,
Exactly.
it's you just got to go and do it. Hope for the
Yeah.
best.
You never know at the end of the day, and
Yeah,
that's
you got
why
to bring your best and just do what you do.
exactly every show is different. That's why you take that into the next show and roll on. You
Right.
can't take what happened previously or anything. And it's going to be the same thing with the Olympia. That's why it's going to be so great.
And it's
Because
different judges, and different judges
yes,
have different preferences.
exactly.
I mean, they have standards that they're supposed to be judging us, but they have their preferences.
Yeah. And it's who shows up, what did they do, who looks the best on that day.
Yes.
Doesn't
Right.
matter how you look, a
A
couple of
week.
weeks prior. So,
Exactly.
and that in state with the Rising Phoenix, you will not be able to take what happens at the Rising Phoenix into the Olympia because.
Right.
But it's going to be great shows left. Looking forward to it. Then there's Anaheim out there. Um,
Now, is
the,
that
the
a
Spain show.
qualifier for this year, or is that for next year?
I think it's a qualifier for this year. I'm pretty sure because this is a Wings
Oh,
of Strength show. That's a
oh,
new one.
right.
Um,
I just didn't
I'm
know what
not
it
for
was
sure, but I'm
about.
pretty sure it is.
Okay.
Uh, Everything from on out is a qualifier. Spain, um, Atlanta,
There's,
Chicago, Tampa,
there's still the Romania
Anaheim.
show, the new Elena
Yeah,
Popa one in
yeah, the
September.
Elena Popa. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So there's
That
still
one I think late September.
by September 1st, I believe,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the date on that. Yeah.
yeah,
And I think that is the last qualifier.
yeah. Now the only thing that would be better is if the Texas Pro had women's bodybuilding.
I
Now,
know.
now
I
we rolling.
know.
Maybe
I
next year.
know.
Maybe next year.
Maybe they should. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh.
Because if the schedule holds, it's gonna roll down the pike just that way. You know,
Yeah.
every year is different, and you gotta look also if the date of the Olympia changes.
Hmm.
Just like last year was November.
Right. I'm
This
glad it's
year is
earlier this
October.
year.
Yeah,
It used to be September, right? Like, isn't it
always September.
historically
Exactly.
until COVID happened,
Exactly.
and then
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So you got to wonder if it's going to go back to September and will it stay in Vegas? Because that'll throw won't throw the schedule off. It'll be just like returning to the original schedule that was. So,
yeah. Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the Atlanta Pro? You've seen the list: 8 women's bodybuilders, 25 women's physique.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everybody looks good, of course.
Yeah,
Everybody's going to bring it because we're getting late in the season. So I can't wait to see it.
yeah. It's going to
But
be
Sheena
good.
Oldie, Michaela Acock, Tina Chandler is back.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
interested to see how she looks after all this time.
yeah,
That's going to be a good show. I'm in my predictions, I think it's going to be Sheena and Michaela going head to head, but I
yeah,
think Tina's the wild card in there for
yeah.
sure. Um,
Sheena's taller. Michaela got that short frame.
but
Michaela's legs. Sheena looks much
Sheena looks
improved.
incredible this year. I mean,
Yeah, she does.
she really, I love her physique.
Yeah,
She's really, brought her upper body up to match her lower. So she's much more balanced this year. I assume she'll be coming in more conditioned than she was at her previous show.
yeah,
That's always the goal.
yeah,
So, it'll just be, kind of, I think, is it shape that they're looking for, or is it mass and conditioning? So
yeah.
it'll be
Is it the
interesting to see.
mass monsters versus conditioning? And the word that's been thrown out every show: conditioning, conditioning. You
Well,
got
I
size,
just proved that
symmetry.
that doesn't necessarily win your show. So,
No, it doesn't. It does not. Uh, so we'll see. Every year is
yeah,
different. Every show is different. So that's what
yeah,
makes it exciting
yeah. And
for
I
me.
imagine whoever doesn't win Atlanta or doesn't win Chicago will be rolling into Tampa
We're
too. So,
rolling in the dice with yep.
yeah,
Because I look out there and you look at the list from last year. Um, looking for Rashana Boswell,
Right.
looking for Christian Mendoza,
Julia
um,
Fori. I mean, I know she's on the
Julia
rising list.
Fourier. Yep.
Mhm.
Um,
Desanka
at the end, I
Dawson.
think we should end up about 15 strong. I think it was 12 last year on the Olympia stage.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ladies out. Mela Ash,
Yes. Yeah.
there's a lot of like, okay, where they at?
I was
Look like
surprised that
you're a
she's not
fan.
doing Atlanta again. I was
Exactly.
she'd be
Yeah,
on that
I thought
list.
she would have been on the list as well. And fans are looking for their favorites, and it's like, okay, where's this competitor? Where's that competitor? So, and that's great. It's always great to be a fan, but don't be fanatical.
Yeah.
Don't build your person up that you love so much and tear down another competitor. That's just not the way. You
Yeah.
come off as an asshole. So
No, I
that's my
experienced
thoughts.
that firsthand, and it's not a pleasant way to be.
No,
So
and I love all 6 divisions, and hey, I'm glad to see them all. And so yeah, I'm a photographer, so everyone looks good to me. So
yeah. But
and
we're all in
everybody's
our best
focused.
shape, you know. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
exactly.
it's a
And a
great.
photographer's got one job. They've been in prep, 16, 25 weeks, and you cannot F that photo up. You got to leave
No,
an indelible
your job
mark
can
on
make
what
us
you
look
do.
even better than we do in person, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Come
yeah,
out there Sunday morning, have you a burger Saturday night, whatever, and
yeah.
come
Nice
out
and
there Sunday
full.
and do that shoot.
So you're going to be in Atlanta?
I am going to be in Atlanta. I'm going to be leaving early tomorrow morning and then coming back early Monday morning. So
Okay, good.
got the tickets for both Saturday and Sunday. Women's bodybuilding on Saturday, and then wellness and bikini, and the rest of them on Sunday. So
Well, Linda puts on an amazing show.
yeah,
She's a great promoter.
been
You know,
watching the
having her show,
promos. Yeah,
that was my pro debut in women's bodybuilding was her show. So
really.
yeah, yeah. Michaela and I went head to head in that one. So
Okay, yeah,
it was a great show. I would love to be able to do that one again. So I'd encourage anybody out there to jump in because it's definitely a show worth doing.
yeah. And the thing of it is at the end of the day is how the promoters promote, and some promoters people are just drawn to. Linda Murray, Tim Gardner, the Manions with the Pittsburgh Pro. Some shows just they don't need much promoting. It's because of the person, what
Right.
they've seen before as well. But and because Linda Murray being a female promoter,
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
with Triple O,
Yes.
uh,
You need to support the female promoters for sure.
exactly. And since Amazon's Fitness Magazine, female primary magazine, so yeah, I look for that first because you got to have the right optics. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. For everyone that is watching, if you have questions, Sherry will take questions about 2 minutes. Sherry, we'll
Sure.
give 2 minutes to ask questions, and then I'll bring them up. So everyone that's watching, 2 minutes, send your questions now. I'll bring them up, and then Sherry will answer them. And while we're waiting, Sherry,
Hmm.
3 weeks to Tampa. What are you looking at working on? What do you expect to change?
There's not a whole lot we can do in 3 weeks. We're definitely going to be trying to keep the legs full. My coach wants to just bring in a fuller look
Right.
all around. I watched back some of the footage from the show, and there's some posing tweaks that I definitely need to fix that I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't aware that I was doing. So,
Yeah.
just some minor tweaks, but other than that, just staying the course and staying calm and following the plan.
Coming out in a different color suit?
No, I'm going to rock this one for the next two
Well,
shows.
okay.
I,
Got you.
I really love my routine this year. It's special to me. So yeah, so Tampa and Rising will be the same for me. And if we do the Olympia, then we'll come up with a new creation.
Okay. So I'm going to go from last to first. I got a question from Johnny Heath. 3 names you want to face at the Olympia. Or does it
3
matter?
It doesn't matter. I want to just be up there with whoever's the best of the best that year. I think I've already faced that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And Andrea Shaw. So, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was a privilege. Oh, Hella. I would love to be
Hella,
able to be up there with Hella this year and say
yep.
that I
Hella
got to compete
Trevino's
with
back.
Hella.
Yes.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, I've been up there with them, most of them. So, nobody in particular.
I think you already answered this one, but I'll put it up again. All the Rage George Page says, what was the judge's critique from Portugal?
Just that I need to bring my legs up a bit to match the upper body.
Okay.
So we'll be working on that this off season.
Again, from All the Rage George, would you take an invitation to the Olympia if they were to say, you know what, based on what happened to Paris V, we're going to give you an at-large bid to the Olympia?
Hell yeah, I'd take it. I don't have another 10 years in this sport.
Beggars can't be choosers. If you're going to give me something, I'm taking it. Yeah.
Yeah. Irene Anderson got a special invite a couple years ago. She had no problems taking it.
Exactly.
I would gladly, if the position was offered to me. It would be a privilege.
FBB Forum, how long flight tough on prep? Was long flight tough on your prep? Long flight tough on your prep?
No, it wasn't. I didn't get as much sleep on the way there as I had hoped. The plane was like super hot. It was hard to sleep, and having to go to the bathroom a little bit more than I did on the way back, because you're trying to water load. That's a little bit hard, but it wasn't any more difficult than traveling anywhere else, Arizona or Canada. In fact, I was a direct flight, so to me it was easier. In Canada, I had to take like 3 different flights.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you left out of Florida?
I left out of Miami.
Out of Miami. So you drove down to Miami.
Right.
And caught a direct flight.
Direct flight on Air Portugal. Yeah, flew into Lisbon. And then we just had a 30-minute Uber ride to the area that we stayed.
And you said it was an 8-hour flight?
Yeah, 8.5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The flight on the way home, I slept the entire way. I mean, I was just exhausted and full of food.
Yeah, all the stress levels just like hit you.
Yeah.
And you were sleepy.
I slept like a baby. Yeah.
Got a question from Vinny. Would you compete again in Europe or go back to the Portugal next year?
I would. I enjoyed the show. I love Portugal. I'm in love with Portugal.
Yeah.
So I would definitely, even Spain. Yeah. I mean, I am, I've come back just realizing how much of the world I haven't seen. And it's really inspiring to see all of the history and just be around different cultures and in different environments. So if I have the opportunity, I would absolutely do another European show. Romania. Spain? Yeah, I would do Spain.
Not this year, but
no. I mean, Spain's already passed this year.
Yeah.
But, yes, if I continue to compete, Spain is definitely something that I would entertain for sure.
At the end of the day, would you fly basically anywhere to compete? West Coast, East Coast, overseas? You already done. Is there a particular one out there? The Puerto Rico Pro. That would be perfect if that were to come back.
That used to be one of the bucket list shows that I wanted to do. Yeah. I was signed up, or I was going to do Puerto Rico the year of COVID, and then it got canceled at the last minute. So I ended up doing the Shreveport, Louisiana show, which was the same day. That was a nightmare. That was not a great show, but for me.
Yeah.
But if Puerto Rico was definitely on my list of shows I would have loved to have done.
And we'll take one more. This is again from All the Rage George Page. How about the Alina Popa Classic?
Unfortunately, this year that's not in my budget. I'm pretty tapped out on travel funds and time off work. But,
exactly.
If my personal circumstances were different, I would absolutely do her show. I would absolutely want to promote, help promote her show and be a part of it. Again, a female bodybuilder promoter, I yes.
Right. Again, just like Linda Murray. Exactly.
Yeah.
Would you rather, and I'll let you out of here on this last question, would you rather do shows earlier in the shows as some competitors did? They're qualified and they're just sitting back resting, strategically planned, but they could overthink. You can get paralysis from overanalysis. or would you like to just keep it like right where you were? And
Mm.
last year you qualified for the Olympia on early, didn't you?
I
What was the
did,
show?
and that was my strategy to jump
Right.
in early show before the Olympians got in the mix. Um, because the year prior I had placed second, third. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought, if I can jump into one of these early shows, I didn't grow as much as I had hoped, but I felt like the opportunity to get the qualification, I was just like knocking on the door. So I was like, I'm
Right.
going to jump in the very first show of the season, which is what I did, and
Mm-hmm.
I won. My plan worked, and I was pretty good with doing that show, prepping for it, and then shutting it down for a little while. We did a small, kind of break, and then I had the rest of the year to prep for the Olympia. It was great. I didn't overthink it. I felt like it was a really good strategy for me. And this year, I definitely needed to make some improvements from the Olympia. So I had to take some time. And I was in prep pretty much all year the year before because I
Yep.
did the early show and then I did Rising and then the Olympia. It was just too much. I needed to give my body a break. So, that's something that people don't think about as far as non-competitors. They just look at us kind of like machines and they think, oh, we'll just jump in this show and jump in that show. It's not healthy to stay this lean for a long
No.
period of time, especially for a female. So that's just not realistic for us. So I had to take a break. I had to take some time.
Right.
But obviously my chances of qualifying are diminishing the bigger the show gets.
Yeah,
So
but the person's not diminishing. So I
yeah,
mean, everybody got to bring it. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they got to still got to beat your physique.
Right. And and my mindset is if I can't beat them at like Tampa, I'm not going to beat them at the Olympia. So,
Right.
I want to go up against the, some good
The best of the
competitors.
best.
I want to
Exactly.
compete, so that's the exciting part about it is doing a show that's stacked that, you're
Right.
going to be up there with some quality competitors.
You want to know where you are. You
Yes.
know, I
Yes.
mean, yes, good strategy to qualify earlier. You can go on the narrative that hey, not many people will show up. It'll be an easy qualification, but that's not always the case.
And I don't want
Um,
to go to the Olympia and come in last. So,
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to make sure that I'm good enough.
exactly. And you
Yeah.
certainly were last year on the
Yes.
outside of the top three, getting fourth. Um, you got Tampa and then the Rising Phoenix.
Right.
If it don't happen in those, will you shut it down?
Yes. Yeah, we're
Okay.
done. Tampa's my last go at it, and then Rising, and then I've had enough prep for the year. We'll shut it down and come up with a plan for next year.
Yeah. Sherry, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you and taking the questions as well.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I want to talk to you again either before Tampa or right after Tampa
You just
when you got you had an Olympia qualification.
just
So
let me know. I'm always available.
I really appreciate you. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
man. Have a great weekend in Tampa
You too. Take
or
care.
in
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Atlanta.
All
Prep
right.
thing's still going on. All right.
Yeah.
You have a good night.
Thanks again, Sherry. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Sherry Priami on her way to the Tampa Pro after the Portugal Pro. Things did not go as we all had hoped, but she's still rolling in. And so she would do Tampa and then the Rising Phoenix. And depending on the way things go, she'll shut it down or she'll be on her way to the Olympia again. Because you just don't know at this point. Everybody looks good. Everybody looks great. But you just have to all see how it all shakes out. It's in the judge's hands. And, again, back to my last point I want to make. It's okay to be a fan, but don't be fanatical. Yes, root, yell, go crazy for your opponent, but don't disrespect um, the show or other competitors just because you love yours so much. And that's great that you love them, but don't be an asshole. Coming up on the podcast on the 23rd of July, mark your calendars. Christina Mendoza joins the podcast. So you don't want to miss that. That's at 7:30 p.m. I am off to the Atlanta Pro. I also now debating whether to go to Columbus or do Tampa, but we'll just have to see. So I'm between those two. and the point of Columbus, my family's there, but also there are some competitors that are doing the Tampa Pro that I'd like to get a photo shoot in. So that being said, we will see you guys soon. Tune in all this weekend. Make sure you got the live stream for the Atlanta Pro. If you can't be there, and I will be leaving out of here early morning. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the website. Celebrate the female physique at AmazonsFitMag.com. We'll see you soon.